So, David Ornstein drops an exclusive update on Manchester United takeover, and there's even reports and feelings that Sir Jim Ratcliffe starts work today with 4 major figures leaving and 4 entering. We'll also be talking about the latest on the injury front. Eriksen and Højlund have pulled out of international duty. What is the latest on everyone their expected return dates, injuries? Because Wan-Bissaka even picked up a little bit of a knock and wasn't present in the last game. Then we're going to talk about the media sort of Ten Hag agenda, how they're sort of spreading a lot of negative stuff about Ten Hag. And while the football hasn't been good and we haven't been great, it just seems that if Ten Hag does something, we'll criticise him. But if any other manager does it, we won't say anything. Like when Ten Hag said that Sancho needs to train harder. Media was saying Ten Hag shouldn't have said that. Pep's just been praised for dropping Guardiola and saying he needs to train harder. But we'll dive into the hypocrisy towards Ten Hag, which will then link to Shaw and Garnacho coming out and obviously backing Ten Hag and saying he's not the problem at United. So what was said on the takeover? It was said that Ineos' stake in Manchester United is very likely to be announced in this coming week. After Monday, Ineos will get sporting control of United. So Ornstein is basically saying Ineos essentially have sporting control of United now. He said the Glazers and Ineos are in the process of finalising the agreement of the 25% stake of United, and they will get the sporting control, and the Glazers will take care of the commercial side of the club. This was said by the one and only David Ornstein, so 99% success rate. He's very accurate with his information. Essentially, Ratcliffe is coming in this week. He's going to get sporting control. Glazers get commercial control. He's going to be allowed to make the sporting changes, which is brilliant. So, what sporting changes will he make? Well, he'll be bringing in Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He wouldn't be bringing in himself because he is Sir Jim Ratcliffe. What changes will be made? That's what I meant. Ratcliffe will be coming in. He's a new owner. He's got fresher ideas. And while I've always been pro full sale, because with Qatar you get a new stadium, you get a lot more. The one thing I will say is Liverpool, they've never really liked their owners. Arsenal, never really liked their owners. But their owners, both Liverpool and Arsenal, implemented a proper sporting system, and now Liverpool and Arsenal with City in the title race. Man United, a bigger club than Liverpool and Arsenal, will have more money for a proper sporting system to deal with. So if we get a proper sporting system, we'll also be in that title race, and that's what Ratcliffe is willing to bring. He's willing to bring Sir David John Brailsford in, who's a guy I'm not super familiar with. But in Sir Jim's eyes, he's a man of fine details, marginal gains, in his own words. And this was from Cam. It was also said Jean-Claude Blanc would he bring in, and we obviously know what Blanc did. We did a video on it. He really helped Juventus when they were in a financial crisis, won their first Scudetto in 9 years as he left, laid the foundations, helped them cut down the wage bill, really helped them cut down the wage bill, helped them offload big name stars and helped with their rebuild. And then he helped with the branding of PSG to make them one of the main football brands in the world. So you've got Blanc coming in as the new CEO to replace Richard Arnold. And then Paul Mitchell, I think, is the most famous one, the one that we know the most about. He'd be the guy coming in as the recruitment guy to replace John Murtagh. And he's known, by every United fan, because we were linked to him under Rangnick, how good he's been. One of the best scouting networks in history, at the RB clubs, at Monaco, at Spurs, at Southampton. And yeah, he's a brilliant guy. So these 4 people coming into United, well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in and bringing in these 3 people. I don't know enough about John Brailsford. I know he's like a cyclist and stuff, but they're going to be a significant upgrade on what we have, which isn't hard, but they will be an upgrade on what we have, which is positive. However, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's ruled out building a new stadium. He'll renovate the stadium. He'll improve facilities. And I think he's put 300 million down to do that. That is the downside. With Qatar, you know that they come in. They have a lot of money. They're going to do the same. They're going to do this. You'd assume they'd make the sporting changes needed to be made. Whereas with Ratcliffe, he's making some really smart sporting changes. But with Ratcliffe, he's only got 25%. How much will he be able to spend in terms of transfers and improving players on the pitch? How much will Joel Glazer allow him to spend? I think is a big question. Will Joel Glazer still have a little bit of control over transfers and stuff? And obviously we won't be getting a new stadium. But I'm trying to be as positive as I can about the Ratcliffe deal, because eventually the Glazers will be gone. Ratcliffe's got so much money with Ineos that he's not using United to make money, whereas the Glazers do use United to make money. And Ratcliffe's intention for United is about making us best on the pitch. His intention is getting Man United back and succeeding on the pitch, because he's got enough money. With Ineos, he's really not bothered about United. He's a lot richer than people think. And while I've always said full sale only, I think that Ratcliffe is an improvement on the Glazers. I think people are angry that we didn't get Qatar and are kind of turning on Ratcliffe, but he is an improvement on the Glazers. He'll eventually buy them out. He'll put the sporting control in there. He's got enough money with Ineos that he's not looking to take dividends out of the club. And, I don't know if it's PR. We'll have to wait and see. But it was said that he has Man United's best football. He has Man United's football success on the pitch at heart over financial success. and that he's aiming to start work on Monday and excited. Now, continuing on, because that is enough on the takeover, what is the latest on the injury front? Højlund and Eriksen have withdrawn from Denmark's international duty games. Now, it's really hard to know where they're at, and also they're going to be assessed. It could be they've got a small injury, it's a precaution, don't go on international duty, or it could be they could be out for a few months. It's muscular injuries. If I was to predict, I'd say they're going to miss a couple of weeks, maybe come back for the Liverpool game, but I think we need to wait until we've got some more clear information on the muscular injuries, which I think could come out probably today, if not tomorrow. But I'm really hoping, particularly to Rasmus Højlund, that it is nothing serious, because Martial will probably just get injured as soon as he starts playing to replace Højlund, whereas at least we've got Mount to replace Eriksen. There's always Amrabat, there's always Maino. That while it's annoying that Casemiro's out and Eriksen's out, we've got midfielders there, whereas Højlund, we don't really have a striker there. We have Martial, but they're not, he's on his last legs. Lisandro Martinez and Casemiro are expected back after Christmas. We don't want to rush them back, particularly Martinez, because we rushed them back last time. As much as we're missing Martinez, we don't want to rush him back. Luke Shaw is expected back in December. Wan-Bissaka, what I'm hearing is just a knock, should be back after international break. Malassi is expected somewhat back after international break, but because he's had such a big injury, he will have to ease him in a little bit as well. And Ahmad is expected back in December. Anthony's poor form, Ahmad and Sancho's situation. Ahmad could be in for run of games, but Sunderland are interested in getting him on loan again. Such a shame that Ahmad and Kobbie Mainoo picked up such bad injuries in pre-season as well. And I think those ones were both contact injuries, so it wasn't even like it was a muscular injury, which I think every other injury we got was pretty much muscular. So I wanted to talk about Ten Hag, and I think that he gets a bit too much stick. I don't think the football we're playing is good. I don't think the situation we're in is good enough. But everyone keeps talking about Tottenham's injuries now, and Newcastle's injuries now, and Arsenal's injuries now, and Man United have had these injuries all season. And everyone's saying, can't believe Man United only just beat Luton, but like every team's only just beaten Luton, and Liverpool dropped points to Luton, and everyone's saying, Ten Hag's going to be sacked, he's out of his depth, and all of this and all of that, and maybe he will be sacked, and maybe he will be maybe he is a bit out of his depth, I don't know. But I know Ten Hag is a good manager, and I'm in this feeling with United that we sack managers every 2 years. Am I happy with the football? No. Am I happy with the line that Ten Hag picks? No. Do I want Ten Hag sacked? Absolutely not, because if you sack Ten Hag, you've got Darren Fletcher to the end of the season. Ten Hag came into the worst Man United side in 20-something years, got us third place, got us to Carabao Cup, restored that winning feeling. Ajax, not just because Ten Hag's left, loads of people left Ajax, but Ajax have capitulated since Ten Hag's left. Ten Hag is a good manager. He's better than an interim to the rest of the season. He's got all these injuries. He's got all these VAR decisions against us. While the football isn't great, while the football isn't pretty, if we had a bit of luck with VAR and we had a bit of luck with injuries, we could be on 5-6 more points, generally up there in the title race, which is unbelievable because we don't deserve to be anywhere up there. But Newcastle, I think, have played really well. We are above them this season. Spurs are dropping off. Newcastle dropping off because of injuries. We've had those injuries since the start of the season. There's a gap there with Villa for that top 5, because remember, top 5 gets you back in the Champions League. Not that I want to come 5th. I want to come 3rd. I want or at least 2nd, or ideally 1st. But I think he gets a lot more stick because you've got a Gabiola on the hill here going, Man United aren't good enough, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, look, the Luton game was a bore fest. But if you watch football, if you know football, which Debbie Abonnaho doesn't, you'll know that we could have beaten Luton 4-0. With the chances we had, we could have beaten Luton 4-0. Liverpool dropped points to Luton. Luton have won so many games lost so many games by just a 1-goal margin. Sheffield United have been beaten 5-0, 8-0. Luton have just losing 2-1, 2-2, 3-1. 1-0. Like, Luton aren't a side that people go and thrash, and you got to think we generally could have beaten them 4-0. Do I think it was a 4-0 game? Absolutely not. But do I think 2-0 would have been a more representative scoreline than 1-0? Absolutely. Did I feel like United were in control? No. Was it good to watch? No. But I think it's this, Ten Hag's rubbish, you can barely beat this side. But okay, you're not going to talk that, Postecoglou's lost 2 games in a row, or that we're above Newcastle. And actually, all things considered, in the Premier League, we're not in as bad as a situation as first predicted. 7 points off the top of the league. I think, if you look at VAR, a few decisions that's gone against us, I think we could have easily been on 24 points right now if we had a bit of luck with VAR, which would put us 4 points off the top of the league with all the injuries that we've had 12 games into the season with how bad we've been. And I've said, look, Ten Hag is taking his approach with football right now, game by game. I don't like it. The way we set up is game by game. It's not how he wants to play long term. It's not his long-term approach. He's not injecting his philosophy. It's very much an Ollie kind of Solskjaer side where he's basically grinding out a 1-0 win, and it's boring and it's not interesting, but he's grinding out the win. I think we will see him when he gets players back from injury, gets a few signings, gets Ratcliffe in, gets a good system like Paul Mitchell around him, and actually competent sporting directors to do the right recruitment rather than wasting 85 million of the transfer budget on the likes of Anthony. I think we will see him build and develop his playing style if he gets that time. And the reason I want to give Ten Hag time is because if we sack him, one, no top manager wants to come to United. People say Zidane, he doesn't want to come to United. Two, we don't have the money for a top manager. Three, we'll have an interim to the end of the season, you call off the season. But he's grinding out results when he's playing bad. And I think once we actually get players back from injury and start playing well, we'll start to see something. I think if we can grind out results and then we can start towards the end of the season see better football, I'll be happy. And I always compare this season to Liverpool last season. Liverpool 2 seasons ago were having their best ever season. It was like they were going to win the quadruple, and then they lost their cup final, and of course they bottled. Well, I didn't say that they didn't really bottle the league. Man City won the league on the final day, but Liverpool played all these games. They were about to win the quadruple. They were like the best team in the world, and then a couple months later, they started the next season really poorly, and they kept getting injury after injury after injury. And that's because Liverpool played the most games 2 seasons ago, and then they had all that injury, they had all that fatigue, and they started the next season really, really poorly. But last season, the last 3 months, sort of February, March time, when Man United dropped off, Liverpool really picked up, and they really improved. And I know that Klopp's a much more established manager than Ten Hag in the Premier League, but I just have this feeling that Ten Hag's going to do that. We're going to be like Liverpool last season, where we had a really good season under Ten Hag, and then there's massive drop-off, but it gradually improves. And Liverpool started to play not very pretty football, but grind out results, and then Liverpool started to make some tactical adaptations towards the end of the season and see something promising. I'm thinking that Ten Hag's going to grind out results, but towards the end of the season, we're going to see prettier, more positive football. And while the wins aren't convincing, we are getting the wins. And when we do lose, we always look at our loss and go, well, we started well for 20 minutes, we conceded the goal and we lost the game, or we played well and VAR did this to us and then we lost the game. And it almost felt like a mentality thing. And I'm just trying to be as positive as I can, but I do think that Man United are made out to be 100 times worse than we actually are. Like, we're not good, but I feel like we're made out to be 100 times. Continuing on, a thing I'd like to point out as well is I actually spoke about this EBL thread in a video a few days ago about calling for patience with Ten Hag, and why when we played Copenhagen was one of Man United's best performances when we had 11 men, and how he coached something good. And it was good to see Garnacho liking that. It's also been really good to see Luke Shaw liking something, saying players can't finish, but it's obviously Ten Hag's fault, right? I hate United fans. And it's good to see like Luke Shaw and Garnacho liking tweets that are like, it's not Ten Hag's fault, because when Man United lose, the media love to pile on the negativity. Pile it on, you know. The players hate Ten Hag, the players don't want Ten Hag. But when you see this, and it's not that big of a thing, but when you see Garnacho and Luke Shaw liking tweets visibly saying Ten Hag is not the problem, it's like, so, okay, he hasn't lost the dressing room, the players still believe in him. And I think the last 3 games of football has been a lot better. While we've had 11 men on the pitch, we're not getting dominated. And I'm not saying it was good enough, but I'm saying Burnley were getting dominated for bits. Sheffield United were getting dominated for bits. We were never getting dominated by Fulham. We could have won that game 2-0 if that stupid goal wasn't ruled out. I don't know why that was ruled out. We never got dominated by Fulham. We never got dominated by Copenhagen until we went down to 10 men. I still wouldn't say they dominated us. We just made mistakes and gifted them the win. And we were never dominated by Luton. While the Fulham win and the Luton win wasn't the most impressive, and while we did lose to Copenhagen, when we had 11 men versus Copenhagen, we were much better. And I have to say, we weren't dominated. We've had a lot of games this season where we were dominated. Whereas I feel like we won the game. It wasn't a convincing game, but at least we weren't dominated in the last 3 games, and I can see improvement. Anyway, please hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I just wanted to end on a positive note. I'm trying to be as positive as I can about this football club, and all things considered, just the situation we're in, because it's boring being negative. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. See you next time. Bye.